Hi, everybody. Paul Caldwell coming to you here again today on my Monday chairman's call. Thanks for being on here. Very much appreciate it. We're going to Edward. Can you hear me? Okay. I'm assuming everything's good. I haven't gotten any indication otherwise.
Yes, sir. Audio is coming up fine, and we should go live in Facebook in around 10 seconds or so.
So the social media channels will be live in a few seconds. Okay, that's good. So when I see the social media channels start going live, then we'll get into more of the meat and potatoes. Okay, I just saw the social media channels just came live. It looks like they're coming live. So we'll just go ahead and get started. First of all, thank you very much for being on here. I know we have distribution partners from around the world on here. Thanks to those of you who where it's 1:30 a.m. in the morning. I very much appreciate you being on here. I appreciate everybody being on here, investing some of your time. I know most people on here are probably still quarantined or sheltering in place or whatever you want to call it, staying at home, working from home. I am in my home office as well right now. And so just appreciate everybody's participation and the consideration of your time. It's very important. I'm going to go ahead and put an earbud in here because I think it's a high signal. Edward, can you still hear me okay?
Yes, sir, loud and clear.
Okay, perfect. That's good. All right. So this earbud's a little bit more clear. Also, for me, if I get a back channel instruction or something, from the office or from the moderators. I've written some things down I want to go over with you in a few minutes, but the first thing I'm going to do is just give you an update on the COVID-19 coronavirus situation around the world. I'm kind of tiring of talking about this all the time because I'm sure it consumes the media cycles in your country, or in your state or town, just like it does for me. And I get tired of hearing about it as well. It's all over the map with whether the states or the country or the city are going to open up a lot, open up just a little, not open up at all. To us, look, we monitor that on a local basis at Organo because all of you are in all different places all over the world, very different circumstances, very different types of governments, very different regulations and regulatory environments. I understand all that. So we watch all that just to keep an eye on it and to keep you informed. You will be getting a link coming out real soon that will be a link you can click on and you can just get updates from all the various countries and communities we serve. So you can go through there, read a little bit of the context, click on some of the links, and get relevant information to that country or where you live, because that's probably what's most relevant to you. We update internally. We update our COVID-19 intelligence on a daily basis. Some of the things have necessitated new ways of thinking about it and new strategies and so forth over this last 6-8 week period, a little bit longer for Organo. We have our Asian business that was affected a little bit earlier than the rest of the world, but basically, let's just say a couple months. And what I will tell you is that the signaling of new phases of the COVID-19, whether it's the acceleration, the flattening of the curve, the decrease of the curve, as you hear them talk about a lot in the media, on a broad macro, big level, big view, vision level, that's not all as important to us as how it affects the actual people in the communities that we serve and how we can continue to serve those communities. So thank you very much for all of you that have served your communities, that have provided masks. For those of you that are making the masks, I know many of you are out there making masks and giving it to the people in your community. That's awesome. I know a few of you are making really, really, really good masks. I have one of them here, high quality made mask, and you're selling them, but you're not putting a price on them. I know you're selling them just for donations and whatever people want to pay you, they can pay you, so that you can continue to buy materials and help out. So all of that is wonderful. Thanks to those of you who have donated money and resources to your local communities. That's very much appreciated. So basically, I just want to say from me to you, thank you for listening to my call for action over these weeks, and thank you for participating. I know most of you didn't need me to come on here and have a call for action. You probably just would have still participated had you seen it on your local news or whatever, because you're just the type of person that naturally wants to help your community. And then there are others of you who have fed back that you've really not done much community service in the past, and you've really enjoyed an opportunity to do some of that. So thank you for that. And I will tell you, it's very rewarding to engage in community service. And I would strongly encourage you to continue to engage in community service when the coronavirus is long gone and it's no longer an issue and there's a vaccine or whatever it is. Look, there's going to be something else. There's going to be another one. Back during SARS, back during the Legionnaire's disease, back during this, back during that. These pandemics or these health crises that took on a global scale, that was historically, right? So back then we would have said, hey, there's going to be another one. Well, here's the other one right now. Guess what? There's going to be another one. And another pandemic, another global health crisis, opportunities to create public and private partnerships. I just strongly encourage you, get in the habit of public service, even when it's not as needed as it is right now on this level. But if you just get used to that, going down to your soup kitchen, go to your local farmers market and see if you can volunteer at the local farmers market to carry boxes for people and whatever. Just community service for you, and especially for your children. If you get your children's mindset around community service, serving the communities that we operate in, it's just a good habit. I think it breeds better human beings. I think it helps turn good children into great adults. And I believe that level of contribution, that mindset of contribution and being out there and able and willing and capable of helping is a big deal. And it doesn't have to be a big help. It doesn't have to be a bunch of money that you spend. It's a bit of your time. It's a bit of your service. It's a bit of your commitment. It comes from here and from here. Link the two and go out and engage in community service. That's a big deal. So we're watching for opportunities at Organo in all the communities we serve. There's so many things going on. Thank you very much for participating in them and for helping so many people with meals, for helping so many people with the giving of your time and your energy and your effort, giving of products, coming into the system and buying black coffees and teas and Kings of Coffee and these kinds of things and giving them away to people. Just all of that is such goodness. It's so good that I don't believe I know I can't say thank you enough for all of you for responding. I will tell you to beware of these hype cycles and news cycles that latch on to one subject or one topic. This doctor said that, and that doctor said this, and hydrochloroquine is a great thing, so take it. No, it's not. It's bad for your heart. No, it's not. I mean, all these kind of things. Those are hype cycles, news cycles. I call them hype cycles, and really they're just designed to get your eyeballs onto that television and spend as much time as you can there until you watch that next advertisement, and then you maybe go out and buy that laundry detergent or that product or whatever it is, ShamWow or whatever to clean your car. These kinds of things that the companies promote. And I'm not saying that it's bad to go out and buy it. I buy these things. What I'm saying is, don't get caught up in the hype cycles and let that drive your emotion. Don't let that drive your values or your belief systems. Yesterday's news is sometimes likely to frame how we think and how our organization Organo would think about the crisis today. But really, it's fast-changing information, so it's just yesterday's news. It should not frame our how we think about the COVID-19 at Organo as an organization. So we try really hard to not let that happen. And I think also don't get stuck in this mindset that information, just because you're getting information, that information creates informedness, that information creates informedness. It does not. If you're connected to the world, like all of us are, many of our leaders, political leaders, medical leaders, they reasonably conclude that, there's so much information and commentary available externally about this COVID-19 that they really don't need anything additional. But what we've really found is that creating and widely sharing updated information that's updated regularly in a summary format helps. But what I want you to understand is just to create assumptions about facts does not create informedness. So just like correlation does not equal causation, information does not equal informedness. It's simply information. The glass is never half full. It's never half empty. It's always a glass of water. Okay, so if you take a glass of water, some people say that the positive-minded people or the optimists look at it as half full. The pessimists look at it as half empty. And that analogy, that's been being used for decades and decades, as long as I can remember, to just define people or define an approach. Well, that's a glass half full approach, or that's a glass half empty approach. If you really think about that glass of water, that's what it is. It's a glass of water. To some, it will be half full. To others, it will be half empty. Smart people, wise people, people that actually give thoughtful consideration to important things before making important decisions, and certainly before allowing those decisions to become commitments, look at that glass of water as a glass of water, and then form well-informed, well thought through, and considered opinions and perspectives. I think it's important to use the experts and their forecasts carefully. Forecasts have been all over the map. Experts' opinions have been all over the map. That's going to continue because that's just the way the world works, right? Don't let that get to you one way or another. Just because some well-respected person has an opinion doesn't mean the opinion should be well-respected just because the person is. The opinion could be a mishmash of bad information that formed that opinion in that otherwise smart, well-respected person, but this perspective could be absolutely ridiculous. So form your own. How's it affecting you? Those people you care about. Make your world better. Make your world around you and your environment better. Make your community better. And the way you do that is by you just being better right now in the moment and not letting all this extraneous external information change or create a negative perspective or a perspective based in stress or rumor and innuendo that really makes you crazy or whatever. So constantly go out and reframe your understanding of what's happening based on the facts in the areas and with the people that impact you. I also would tell you a lot of very high profile and sensitive initiatives and information and issues, as well as controversial issues, are out there, as you all probably know by now. I just encourage you to steer clear of any and all of that. And so make your response, like Organo, we're making our response as balanced as we can across 7 particular areas, 7 facets. One is communications, how we communicate internally with employees in our ecosystem globally that are working from home and so forth, how we communicate with you externally. Number 2 is the needs of the people inside our ecosystem, our employee needs and needs of our distribution partners, needs of customers. We make sure our policies are clear, travel policies and all of that, and any updates. Supply chain stabilization is number 5. And supply chain stabilization is something that we've been working on globally. That's why you still have products. That's why when we had to go out and get the regulatory information in place to be able to be deemed an essential business, Organo to be deemed an essential business, and our products to be deemed essential products. We were able to do that because our goal, our work to stabilize our supply chains, add new safety stock, get some alternative sourcing in place in case that were to become necessary, working closely with suppliers to solve and relieve and open up any bottlenecks and things like that has been really important as we move through this thing. And then business tracking and forecasting. We have been tracking more and more data as we go along. It's enabled us to provide forecasting in all areas of our business. We've looked at some of the unpredictable fluctuations globally that impact all facets of the Organo business. We have increased our reporting cycles in the business to rapid reporting cycles, which means that normally if a report came out weekly or a report came out monthly, we're now looking at those reports in some cases on a daily or even 2-3 times a day, some of the reporting. So we've instituted rapid reporting cycles versus the normal cycles, and that allows us to understand how Organo is being impacted globally. It allows us to make adjustments and any kind of mitigations or recovery mechanisms we might need to put in place, we can put in place. And then just being a part of a broader solution is the seventh layer, the seventh platform that we're working on. And by that, we're just trying to create these public-private partnerships that you hear me talk about every single week. We look for how we can contribute in healthcare, communications, in food, in global payments, in other domains that many of you, and thank you very much for coming back to us and saying, hey, what about this or what about that? And we really tried to focus on that intersection of public-private partnership and on that intersection where acute social needs, like really important social needs, meet our specific capabilities. And that's part of living your purpose. That's part of us as Organo living our purpose. And I hope, and I know that many of you are following the lead. I hope those of you that this is your first week on here, you're brand new as a customer, you're a brand new distribution partner with Organo. I hope some of that gets into you. I hope, it's not just you get involved with Organo. I hope that Organo and this ecosystem and our culture becomes part of who you are and how you think and how you act. So anyway, with COVID-19, those are some of our responsibilities. We continue to advance and align those initiatives. One final thing related to COVID-19 response and so forth that I really want to say here. I gotta emphasize this a little bit. Look, we should not be, and none of you should be, because you're not allowed to under your contract with Organo as a distribution partner. And if you're a customer, I ask you kindly to please do not go out, do not put out, do not disseminate, do not have conversation with other people that in any way indicates that Organo, our products, or any of our services are in any way a remediation factor, a causal factor for treating or curing coronavirus or anything like that. Now, we say this every week. We say it a few times. You've seen it in your email blasts and all that. And we do not have indication of any of you being out there actually doing it. So I believe our communication is working. Well, when something is working, you keep doing it because it's working. So I believe that communication is working. I believe that communication is working well. So you're going to hear it from me again right now. Please do not disseminate information that in any way implies or indicates that Organo or any of its products or ingredients in any of its products in any way cures, treats, prevents, or does anything for any disease, for anything, because that's simply not allowed, and it's not a good idea. And if we did go out and make those implications, then we got to put all kinds of disclaimers and disclosures that basically say, well, that's an advertisement, we really didn't mean it. Have you ever watched a pharmaceutical commercial? where the actual pharmaceutical commercial is for, let's just say, for example, a product that's going to grow hair in a month. You get a prescription from your doctor and you can take this stuff and it grows hair in a month. All right, that's the upside, and that's the beautiful commercial with the guy that's lost his hair and he can't get a date and all this. And then all of a sudden he takes this medicine. He then has his hair and the sexy girls are all over. Okay, that's a commercial. And then what happens is they start talking real fast and the disclaimers start going across the screen in like 6-point font that says, yeah, your hair might grow. 1 out of 600 men had some hair growth. La 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 la. It might give you brain damage. It might give you a heart attack. You might die tomorrow. I mean, oh my gosh, it's like, wait a minute. I just wanted to grow some hair. That sounded really great. But if you actually listen and read all those disclaimers, holy moly, it's not worth those challenges to health to grow that hair necessarily, right? But people will still go out and tell their doc, hey, doc, I want to get a prescription for this. Can I make an appointment? You know, or even the teledoc thing. Can do the teledoc and say, look, doc, I need some hair. Can I get this prescription? Sure. But if you didn't really listen to that, all those disclaimers and disclosures, then you're really not wholly well informed. We don't want to get into any of that, folks. That's not what Organo is about. It's not what our enterprise, our ecosystem is about, is making these kinds of claims. You know, and the other thing is, from the business opportunity point of view, thank you for all of you that are growing the business and sharing the Organo experience. And for all of you that are on here and watching this right now that are brand new to Organo, I welcome you. And we welcome you as an organization and an ecosystem and an enterprise with open arms. We'll be here to help you, and your organizational leadership will help you work and be successful. As successful as you can be based on your work and your efforts and all of that. No guarantees that you're going to have any success. No guarantees that you're going to make a bunch of money or that you're going to be driving the Ferrari and all this kind of stuff. And I know that most of you aren't looking for that anyway. I think you're looking for some place that you can have create a supplemental income stream through a home-based business and through the Organo experience and by sharing the Organo experience. We want that experience to be amazing. We want people to say, wow, we want that. Wow, that's awesome. That's a great experience. Now, we can't do that if we have people that would be running around using the home-based business opportunity story just because everybody's cooped up at home. It sounds like it's a logical bridge, right? A natural bridge, but it's really not. I want to discourage you from doing it for that purpose. For those people that have been on the fence and have been considering innovative entrepreneurship and so forth anyway, been considering a home-based business, sure, I mean, now's a great time for them to actually pick up on that and maybe start working on a home-based business. But I believe any time is a great time for people to get the Organo experience and to understand what we're doing, how we're doing it, most importantly, why we're doing it around the world. And how we're building this ecosystem out, this ecosystem called Organo. So please do not be leveraging, do not prey on people's stress or fear or anxiety about COVID-19 or their lack of money. Maybe their checks haven't come in yet from the various governments around the world that are issuing paychecks to prop up some of the small businesses or whatever. And maybe you know someone whose check hasn't come yet. It's not the time now to say, well, you know, if you had an Organo business, you could have already had plenty of money. That's just the wrong conversation to have. So instead of just putting a notice up here and telling you, I'm going to tell you from me to you that the Organo experience is an awesome experience in and of itself. It does not need to be propped up by hype and hyperbole. It does not need to get on the crazy train and do those things. The direct selling, the network marketing, these professions are awesome, and they create a tremendous amount of opportunity for anyone, for large numbers of people, I guess I should say, and for anyone that really wants to take up the charge and go make something of it. On the other hand, many people get engaged in direct selling and network marketing type businesses. And initially they have great intentions and that's wonderful. But then they don't engage. They don't go from A to B to C. They don't get the training. They don't get the knowledge. They don't have the energy. They don't put in the time, energy, effort that it requires to be a successful person. So whether it were their home-based business or whether it was something that they started with some friends, they probably still wouldn't succeed because they simply don't have what it takes as far as the commitment, the desire, the willingness to put in the time, energy, and effort that it takes to create something, to be a creator instead of just a consumer. And so it's probably not a fit for them anyway. So by all means, at Inorgano, we strongly discourage, in any case, people coming into the business without being a customer first. We discourage people coming in and becoming a distribution partner and buying tons and tons of stuff right off the bat until they even know what to do. So we like a little bit of that training, a little bit of that developmental work up front, so that the person that makes a decision to become a distribution partner is making a well-informed, educated decision, so that they can then become a distribution partner, and that decision can then turn into a commitment for them to use the Organo and the Organo experience as an innovative entrepreneurial mechanism at a relatively low cost, at relatively low risk, in a highly training-based, learning-based environment where they can then start to create some additional success for themselves and other people. But that's really important for you to understand. There's a distinction between that and all the hype and hyperbole, right? So by all means, certainly not in the time of a global health crisis, would anyone at Organo, would I ever encourage, and we certainly will not encourage anyone to get on that crazy train and start trying to leverage other people's fears or anxieties, or even just an opportunity to do that, right? So let's just keep it real. Like I know all of you do. We don't have any complaints about any of this stuff. I'll just tell you that right now, from anybody external to Organo, internal to Organo, we don't have complaints. But I think we don't have complaints. It's because of messaging like this that keeps us inside of an envelope, inside of our environment, and in our own ecosystem, and we clean it. It's self-cleansing. We clean it ourselves. So let's keep doing that, okay? So that's all about COVID-19. That's all I'm going to say about anything related to COVID-19. Go over a couple other things with you. I want you to understand a little bit about the company. I mean, I usually use the back end of this webinar to go over some things, so I always take some notes. Organo is an enterprise. We're a business, and we have a talent pool. I call it our talent portfolio. It's the portfolio of talent inside the organization, and it's really important to have high talent for the short-term and long-term growth and success of the business. So I made some notes. Basically, I wrote down it's people that think of products and create new products and service our customers and so forth, and manage the organizational systems. So there needs to be a focus on people. So when you're on your webinars, we've had some questions that have shown up and whatnot, and you see someone pop in from Organo Corporate that you recognize as a corporate person. For example, just an example, you might see Rodolfo Vargas, who is our Vice President of Latin America, Latin American operations. You might see him pop up on an American webinar, Zoom, that's talking about the BU brand, a brand video or a brand Zoom or something. Why would Rodolfo Vargas want to know what's going on in the United States or Italy or the UK? What's he doing there? Doesn't he do his own Zooms? Well, of course they do their own Zooms. But this is part of cross-training and development, because I believe that our people need to be, our organization and our people, let's put it this way, need to be constantly learning about how others are creating successes and how others are doing things the right way. And then we can create strengths through that, and then we can focus on leveraging our strengths as we continue to go forward and we develop our strengths. So certainly, I wrote attracting talent. Okay, attracting talent is important, and we do that at Organo. And we certainly have cleaned up the ranks of the enterprise at the corporate level. and brought in higher levels of talent in certain places that required it, replaced those people that weren't really the level of talent we want to be able to do what we need to do at Organo. But I will tell you that attracting talent also is not the only thing that matters. It's not going to supply us as an ecosystem, as an organization, with all the talent that we require to succeed as an organization going forward. It's impossible, basically, for us to recruit as much as we need. So that means, and it doesn't happen by itself, it means that we have to develop talent. We have to have a talent development program inside so that our talent portfolio gets more and more and more valuable. So when you see corporate people popping into your Zooms and your webinars, maybe even speaking on some of the corporate webinars and Zooms that you haven't seen before, just know that I have set a very high expectation at Organo that the organization and all the people within the organization all become high-end, high-class, world-class learners. I want everybody getting smart, and I want everybody working hard. And it's my understanding, my belief, based on my experience on this planet, that a lot of times that people say, well, work smart, not hard. I don't believe that. I don't think you should work smart, not hard. I think that's not smart. Because what I've learned is that most of the people that know how to work smart have become knowledgeable in that area and have learned how to work smart by working hard at something and committing to it and putting in that time, energy, and effort that I talked about earlier first. And then they learn how to gain their efficiencies through their effectiveness. Then you can begin to work smart. Then you can begin to get that maximum effective or maximum effective value for minimum effective input. And that's magical when you get there, but you don't get there by not becoming somewhat knowledgeable by putting in the work. In other words, there's work to do. There's a small book called Do the Work. I encourage everybody, you should get that book. Do the work. When you put in that work and you put in that time, energy, and effort, that's when you can start to get the outcomes from it, the productivity yields, which sometimes it yields in liquidity, you make money. Sometimes the productivity yields in knowledge, you get smarter because you did put in this time, energy, and effort, and you became productive, and you get smarter, not richer, but smarter. Sometimes you get richer, sometimes you make money, right? Based on the types of activities, the time, energy, and effort, and the level of productivity will yield your outcomes, liquidity, knowledge, wisdom, whatever. So I just want to let you know that at Organo, we're big time focused on creating a learning organization. Now, there's a lot of us, everybody, all of us, me included, here in my home office. We are all having opportunities right now to learn, and we've been learning a lot. But information alone, knowledge alone, is not power. Even when information turns to knowledge, it doesn't become power unless it's put to good use, unless somebody actually uses it for a meaningful, useful purpose, for some good on this planet, somehow, some way. Maybe it's by building your business and having a successful business and being able to have a positive financial effect for generations to come on yourself and your family for generations. Maybe it's the ability to help the community and to create and put a dent in the universe because you have the ability to make great food, or you're a great baker and you bake a bunch of stuff, or you make some food that helps some people in the homeless shelters or something in your community. I don't care what it is. Just do it. Just go do it. Be great. Make that dent. Make the contribution. Give first, then you will get. It doesn't work the other way around. Lots of people run around wanting. They die wanting. They die wanting because they never gave first. They never had the inputs. They never created the value before consuming the value. They became consumers of value, which you can do these days. I mean, you can do that. Who here's ever been in debt, in significant debt? So that means you can consume first. You can just go get debt on your credit, and you can go get the TV or the stuff or the car or the artwork or the clothing or whatever it is. You can go get it without putting any inputs. You can just become a consumer. But I'll tell you what, I promise you this as an entrepreneur, I promise you this. You will feel differently about that car, that artwork, that nice clothing that you're able to buy for your wife or you're able to get for your husband or whatever it is, or the schools your kids go to. You'll feel differently when you're able to do those things because you put in the time, the energy, and the effort, and you created before you consumed, because you didn't take a shortcut. You take your own fast track. So that means you need to understand three things: leverage, opportunity, and timing. Those three things. Those are going to be three things I start talking about on this Monday's call for the next 3 weeks, starting next week: leverage, opportunity, and timing. Because I've told Organo, the staff, something that when they do a training or they put out information in the written form or the video form, I want it to do two things, not just one. I don't just want it to inform you. I want it to educate you, right? Because again, like I said at the very beginning, knowledge in and of itself, or information, I should say, in and of itself, just the information doesn't mean that you're well informed. So information does not create informedness. It's just information, right? I want you to become one of these world-class leaders too. So I tell everybody, look, let's give information, yes, but let's not just give information. Let's also give some education. So every piece of information, there should be some education. So I decided I would theme that in around leverage, opportunity, and timing. So over the next 3 weeks, you're going to get 15 minutes on each one of those subjects from me when you come to this Monday call or Zoom. And I will talk, I'm sure I will begin to talk less and less and less and less and less about COVID-19 and compliance and all those things, although I will continue to talk about them because I believe that messaging is working. And I believe it's important that that message works, that that messaging does work. So you'll continue to hear from me about those things. But I'm also going to add a little bit more education. So the first thing that I'm going to talk about is that three-legged stool I call leverage, opportunity, and timing, and the effect of those things on you and your business, whether it's a direct selling business, a flower shop up the street, or whatever. Those are three things that I want you to give some thoughtful consideration to. So I'll put 15 minutes in at the end of each one of these Monday calls for the next 3 weeks. The first week will be leverage, the second will be opportunity, and the third will be timing for the next 3 weeks. Folks, that's all I have for you today. Please go forward, be safe, be responsible. Most of all, when you do all of those things and you put that time, energy, and effort in, you don't take shortcuts and you tell people the truth and you do everything you should do, you're going to have an opportunity to be the thing that matters most. That means be great, and be great right now. There's an opportunity right now when I hang up. There's an opportunity for you to call someone and make a difference in their life. There's an opportunity for you to call someone and do something great for them. There's an opportunity, even in this time of social distancing and virtual communications and all this, there's a time for you to go do something great. When I get off of here, I'm going to go do something great. I haven't even thought about it yet, what it is exactly, but I will within the next 10 minutes. I will have picked up the phone and done something for someone else. I want you to do the same, okay? Thank you very much. Be responsible, be safe, take care. God bless you and your family. I look forward to seeing you again next week. Bye-bye.